What's going on, y'all? Sitting at the tattoo shop here, getting some administrative stuff done, scheduling some stuff to get posted online here for the next month or so, next couple of weeks, and having time open. This whole slow season thing. It's been a while since we've actually been going through like the regular sort of motions with what parts of the year are we can kind of expect to be busier or slower or whatever. So we're actually going for the first time in the past couple of years into like a real slow season at the end of the year, like around the holidays and whatnot. And we've had a lot of scheduling and cancellations and all that fun stuff. But it's given me a little time when dealing with like social media stuff and advertising and all that to see what people are talking about online. And there's a lot of talk about tattoo apprenticeships. And there's a lot of misinformation out there. Seems like a lot of folks don't really know how tattoo shops work. And unfortunately, a lot of people that don't know how tattoo shops work like to talk a whole lot about how tattoo shops work. Like the fact that tattoo artists aren't employees, we're contractors. So we don't get paid by the shop. The shop gets paid by us. Like, so when somebody comes in for a tattoo, they pay me for the tattoo that I do on them. So all the extra time that I spend either here or not here throughout the rest of the day, I don't get paid for it. The only time that I actually get paid is when a client comes in for a tattoo. They hand me money for the amount of time, whatever deal we've worked out for the value of the piece, the time, whatever. They hand me money for that individual transaction, that trade of the tattoo for their money. And then from that, the tattoo artist, I would pay the shop. Some people pay booth rent. Some people pay percentage, like a cut of the money that they make every time they do a tattoo. And we pay the shop with that. So there's no like hourly wage, anything like that for like the amount of time that we're here. There's no like scheduled shifts or whatever where you're going to work 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. or whatever and get an hourly wage for every hour that you're there. That's not a thing that happens at most tattoo shops, like almost all tattoo shops. Of course, there are exceptions, but like as a general rule, that is not the way that it works. So when people will say stuff like, oh, you should pay apprentices a living wage, like thinking, well, why? What would the mentor get out of that? Because the mentor is dedicating multiple years of their life in most cases to teach you. And that's not something like they don't need to teach you. There's already an oversaturation of tattoo artists. There's like 5 tattoos on every city block. So they don't need to teach you. And people bring up like, well, what about other skilled trades like carpenters and welders and plumbers? Well, I mean, those are needed to keep up infrastructure in a society like where we all live together. Those things are needed. Tattoos are a luxury. Like, no one needs a tattoo. So, I mean, we don't have to teach anything to anyone. That really kind of irritates people. Generally, when somebody seeks out an apprenticeship, they come to a tattoo shop, they come to a tattoo artist and say, hey, I want you to do a thing for me, a thing that you don't have to do. I want you to do that thing for me. And so there has to be a fair exchange there. In exchange for 2, maybe more time, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. I've even seen apprenticeships go on that long of that mentor's life, that working artist that could be using all the time that this potential apprentice wants them to use to teach them. They could be spending time with their family. They could be drawing and furthering their art career. They could be starting some other outside business, engaging in hobbies. They could be just scheduling more tattoos to make more money. But this potential apprentice comes in and says, hey, I want you to spend your time, that time that you could have spent doing all of those other things, to do something for me. And to have somebody then say, well, yeah, I want you to do that for me, this thing that you don't have to do for me. And I also want you to pay me a wage out of your money. Because as we established again, the shop doesn't pay the artist pays the shop. So they want you to teach them, to do labor for them, to give them connections, to give them your time, to personally hold their hand for multiple years to make sure that they are a competent professional artist, that they have all of these skills and that they can survive and run this business. They want you to give all of that to them and then say, it's unfair for me to ask you to do all those things for me and also not give me a living wage out of your pocket. And that's insane, in my opinion. Like, it just, that's totally skewed. Because what's happening in the tattoo apprenticeship is you are trading an education, an entire career, someone's entire professional experience. You're trading that for doing a sheet of paperwork and like sweeping a floor at the end of the night. Maybe once a week, once every couple weeks, once a month, maybe driving, not even walking, nothing torturous, like driving to the store to grab supplies with the shop's money. You're not having to front any money here. With the shop's money, it's really not hard here. I don't understand. I don't understand where the disconnect is. And some of these people, I guess, asking about the potential apprentice, like, well, what are they going to do for money if they're not being paid by the tattoo artist that is already giving them a career? If they're not also paying that potential apprentice too, then how is the potential apprentice going to make a living? Like, they're spending all this time at the shop, not keeping in mind that a lot of the tattoo shops that I've been to, a lot of the artists that I know have mentored apprentices, are very flexible on the amount of time that is necessary, like on a daily or weekly basis. Like, if you have a full-time job and you can only make it in like 2 days, 3 days a week, limited hours, like at the end of the night after your job, then that's what you do. And at that point, it depends on how well you catch on to the lessons, the necessary skills that they're going to build on. Because they're not going to just give you a machine and throw you out to the wolves and say, here, tattoo and figure it out. They're going to start you with low-level skills and slowly start ratcheting that up and building upon those previous skills when they see that you are competent in the previous one. So it's not even like a normal school where you either meet the criteria or you don't. It's pass fail. You're being handheld to take as long as you need up to a certain reasonable point to get these skills. And you get the next skill once you master the previous one. But even when you go to a normal school, like a pass fail school that has a set amount of time that you have to learn everything and otherwise you fail, you're still paying them for their labor, knowledge, experience, resources that you're using to learn these things, to make you better, to further your life. So I don't know. It just seems a little ridiculous. Having been in the tattoo world for a while, seeing somebody say that receiving an entire career in exchange for like doing just normal things around the shop that an artist would have to do if that person weren't there anyways, like sweeping, mopping, doing paperwork, just all things that you would have to learn to do on a daily or weekly basis anyways, in exchange for receiving an entire career at the expense of an individual artist's time and labor, and all these things that they could be doing to spend their time out of their own life, not having to do any of this. They're giving this to you, thinking that sweeping a floor or going to get supplies once a week is just way too much to ask, and that you would need to be also paid to take this person's labor. It just doesn't sit right with me. I don't know. This person gives wages for a worker doing work. They give wages, they give work. Well, more likely they give hours. This person gets paid regardless of how much work they do, as long as they're there for the hours. tattoo mentor gives education, time, labor, and supplies, which costs money out of their pocket. Apprentice gives work. So they're giving them that. They're giving them that. It's all about exchange of value. An hourly business pays money, wages, to the worker for hours/work. Tattoo mentor pays education, time, labor, supplies, etc. for multiple years to the apprentice in exchange for work. This person is making money off of this person. This person is making no money off of this person. It costs this person money to give them these things. So if this stuff costs this person money, why would they also pay them money on top of it? So if you like what I have to say, leave me a comment. If you don't like what I have to say, leave me a comment. Until next time, I'll see you all later.